Hi, and welcome to Academy. In this tutorial, I'm going to walk you through some of the building blocks when using our visual programming interface. And for that, I'm going to create a new game. I'm just going to add two tasks into the game. It's just for sample purposes. And I'm going to the rules block. So there are three categories of blocks that you can use. The first one is the category tasks, and this is basically used to refer to tasks. So I can refer to individual tasks like one, task two, or then I can also refer to several tasks at once, like all tasks or tasks in a range. So for example, there is one building block already existing, that is default block, and it actually defines the end condition of the game. And by default, it's like when all tasks are finished, then finish the game as well. You can get rid of that. It's default because every game probably needs some kind of finish condition, but there can be other finish conditions, so you don't need to use that. However, it kind of shows you very well where you use those task and all tasks block, logically. The second category of blocks are logic blocks. And the logic blocks always start with when then. When something happens, then take the action. And I'm going to walk you through some of those logic blocks, so that this is basically the logic block is the one that gives you the condition. Okay, when the condition becomes true, then some kind of action will be taken. And then the last one, of course, are the actions. So you can finish the game like it's here, but you can also show a location on a map. You can show a location in a list. You can open the location for answering, the task for answering. Or actually, it's not here at the moment because we don't have any playgrounds, but you can also show a task on a playground. So there are like 5 or 6 strong action blocks that you want to know about. However, this video is about the basic conditional blocks, and we are going to build basic conditions with the following blocks. First one is that if task is finished, then take an action. The second one is the timer. So when timer reaches some threshold, then take an action. The third one is scan QR code. That meaning that if this QR code is scanned, then take an action. And also we have a score, and this is also odometer actually. So when the score is more than something, then take an action, or if odometer from the beginning of the game is more or less than something, then take an action. Okay? We will also cover odometer after finished. So now this is a little bit more complicated, but it's very useful because it allows you to build some sequences into the games. So basically combining those different kind of condition blocks will give you the game rules. Let's try one block out. So first of all, if we want to go with the first one, then we also need to define what the task is. And in this case, I want to go and say if or when the task 1 is finished, then, and what we're going to do is that show task 2 on a map. Now that basically allows you to build a sequence. You answer task 1, then 2 is shown, you go to the 2, you answer task 2. And of course, as we say, that show it on a map, and it's a general task, so we need to give it a location. So you see that the rules tab is red, and we are expected to give this task a location. I'm just going to give it a random location here. So now we have a location, and we have the valid rule. Okay. Now the second one is with a timer, and the timer starts from the beginning of the game. And the same way, we can say that when the timer is more than 1 minute, show something on a list, for example. And let's use that action. Show task 1 on a list. Okay. Now that means that when you start the game, nothing is shown, but then after 1 minute you will see the task 1 in a list. It can also be other way, so that until this minute task 1 is shown in the list. So that actually gives you kind of urgency that something will disappear when the timer hits 1 minute. Okay? Now you can probably already guess that this first block actually, we somehow need to get to the number 1. So, just using this first block alone does not cut it, because we somehow need to also define that number 1 is displayed or accessible for the player. But the second one kind of fixes this problem that, task 1 is shown until the timer hits 1 minute. So if you just act fast, you can play the game. Or if we turn it around, then you just need to wait for 1 minute, and then you will see task 1 on the map and you can go there. Okay, so that is kind of the second block that you can use. The third one is a QR code, and again we need an action. And let's say that if you scan a QR code, we open task 1 for answering. Okay? Now, the QR code, the kind of the string that the QR code hides can be chosen by you. So you can use a QR code generator online and create your own QR code. So let's just put here some random code. So you could use this. But what you could also do is that let's say you are working partly in a museum where already there are some QR codes for whatever reason available. Then within Loquiz, you could actually use those QR codes. Scan them, figure out what's inside them, and paste that string that is inside them here, so that within Loquiz, these QR codes would launch actually totally something else than they would normally in your everyday life. So this is kind of a way to really utilize the QR code that is already existing. But as said, you can create your own as well. Now the next one is also really cool, and let's build something for that as well. And let's say open, and we'll open the task number 1 again. And what it tells you is that the task 1 will be opened when the odometer is bigger than 100 meters. Okay, so you can actually build a game where something happens when the person has moved that much. But what you can also do is that you can get rid of this one, and let's say put the action there, show on a map, and let's show this first task on a map. And now again, because the first one does not have a location yet, we need to give it a location. We'll just give it a location here, the random location. Now what happens is that when you have walked 100 meters or more, then you will see this first task on a map only. But what you can also do is to say that, hey, until you have walked 100 meters, you will see this task on a map, but after that, you will not see that task anymore. So you could actually build a game where you need to move as little as possible, and when you have moved more, you will lose some locations that you would have accessible otherwise. Now, please pay attention that there are all kind of conditionals available, and one of them that is very, very tricky is this equal. So if you want to say that show something on a map when odometer equals 100 meters, then it might be that it's kind of, just showing for so little time that actually nobody will be able to see it or act on it. So, don't use the equal sign with odometer if possible. Now that's also the same block. And let me duplicate this block. This is the easy way to create new blocks actually. So the same block also has another option that is score. And with a score you have the same option. That let's say something is shown on the map until you have a score that is under 100. And when your score is really big, you lose some locations. Or, otherwise you can also do that if somebody is progressing really well and you want to slow them down, you say, okay, if they have a score that is more than 100, you will start putting new stuff on the map for them. But you can also do the same thing that we did before, that you can say that if score is more than 100, you open a specific task. So for example, you can create a task that says, congratulations, your score is more than 100 now. The thing is that, if you open a task, you cannot undo it anymore. So that task is actually takes action for all the rest of the rules as well. It's kind of important probably to know. And the last one that we are covering today is odometer after a task is finished. And that is very useful as well. And let me explain how it works. So let's say we take the tasks. So, and we want to build an action that shows task 2 on the map when odometer is more than 100 meters. So this is the easy way to build a sequence where you need to move between the tasks. This odometer here starts from the beginning of the game. And if for some reason the player moves a lot, then all those other odometers will become true as well, and you will see a lot of action on the map, or a lot of tasks open. However, this one restarts only after this condition becomes true. So if you actually finish task 1, then after 100 meters, task 2 will open. It's very useful, for example, when people go indoors, so the odometer might be totally off. Maybe there is a bad reception for the GPS, the odometer might be totally off. So it makes it a little bit more kind of trustworthy to build these smaller odometers after smaller actions. And when odometers come to play, I have to say that this is the preferred way to do that. Okay, so these are the basic blocks that I wanted to go through today. Some other basic comments that I would go through, because this is one of those beginner lessons. First of all, it doesn't matter what order the conditions are. Okay, so the conditions can be in this order or that order. They are all absolute conditions, so you cannot build order by just changing the conditions. Also, when you connect conditions to each other, it doesn't really matter what order they are in, because they all are full conditionals in their own. Okay, it is possible to nest when-then blocks, and then of course they will affect each other. But until they are connected or just loose on the workspace here, then they actually do not have strong order. Okay, and that's about it. Thank you.